Hey guys, and welcome to another Nomad team game audio commentary. This audio commentary is a 4 versus 4 game, and it was played this afternoon. In this game, I'm playing as the Magenta Dravidians, and with me I have Mike Oxmall as the Red Turks. Similar to the last replay that I posted, Mike Oxmall, also known as Gerald, has been on a bit of a Turk streak on Nomad at the moment. We also have That's a Lot of Scalps playing as the Orange Vietnamese. Mitch featured in the last replay as well. He was the Vikings in that one. And then this time around we have Soggy Socks as the Yellow Malay. And on the other team we have Koreans, Magyars, Spanish and Mayans. And the cyan Spanish, the blue Mayans, and the green Koreans, they are a 3-stack, and they're playing with a random player who is player 7, and that is the Magyars player. So not quite as evenly matched as the previous game, because that was 2 4-stacks playing against each other. This time we're only playing against a 3-stack. They definitely do illustrate some teamwork in this game. And the civilizations, even though we've got one civilization that was used in the same replay, are quite different to the civilizations that we used in the previous game. So again, when we got the match in the ranked queue, Gerald, I think, maybe picked Turks first. Soggy Socks has been on a little bit of a Malay streak recently on Nomad. He sort of gives a few civs a go a few times in a row and then changes to a different one just to see how it feels. And he's one of the players, again, you know, we've been playing Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition ranked team games for probably a couple of years now, and he's only sort of more recently gotten into playing Water on Nomad in particular, so he's quite happy to do that sort of role when we play a team game. So when he's in the team or in the stack in 4 versus 4, he'll often put his hand up to do that role, and he ends up doing that in this game. And in this particular replay, I had been mucking around in the just single player against the AI, trying to pull off longsword rushes, because in the latest patch, they buffed a lot of things related to playing Castle Age longswords, and there's 2 civilizations in particular that have probably that are more easily able to pull that off than other civilizations. One of those civilizations is the Bulgarians, because they get the free man-at-arms, longsword, 2-handed sword upgrades at the start of each age, and the Dravidians because they get 50% off their barracks tech discounts. And on Nomad in particular, Dravidians have several eco bonuses. There's 3 eco bonuses that they get that help them help them pull off like a longsword rush, because longsword rush is a food heavy strategy, and the Dravidian bonuses help you get the buildings up and get the food in, because your fishing ships are more efficient and you can more easily make a dock and a fishing ship at the start of the game, etc. So in the last replay, I played kind of like a hybrid role where I did Feudal Water into Castle Age units. And this game, I didn't play Navy at all in this game. I just made the fishing ships, and Croker took care of that for me. So instead of starting off with my start in this game, I'm actually going to go and change the point of view. So what I'm going to have to do is, I think oh no, that's actually working properly. So I'm going to start off with Mitch's point of view, because there's something that I want to showcase that can happen in Nomad team games on the rank ladder that is a little bit annoying, and you have to kind of watch out for it. So it happens at the start of the game. I'm going to turn into Mitch's view lock and put the Fog of War on and press play. Alright, so Mitch has all of his villages. So he's got all of his villages here in this kind of L shape. They're quite close together. Just going to take the view lock off and turn the Fog of War on. So it's in like a little L shape like that. So that means that he's going to have to play this side of the map most likely. So if I just start the game again, he's moving those villages towards the south of the map, and he's sort of found a spot where he wants to put a town center. And I think he goes to place it, but he's beaten to the punch by Grey moving over the top of his foundation and then building a town center right on top of where he was going to put it. And then he can also see the ring of another enemy town center right next to that. So his pretty much whole start of the game has been ruined because he's been moving all of his villages towards this direction, and he's going to have to completely migrate to build a different TC. So he's got another villager that was probably walking towards the shore, and that means that he's going to have to build a town center over here. But he really should have... the other thing is he probably doesn't feel comfortable playing physically close to the enemy starting town center locations. He's not a player that likes to get into scrappy Feudal Age fights with towers and militia and archers at the start of the game. So he's going to just move further away from those players and just have to cop the bad start. So that delays his ability to make villages, and he's also not got fishing ships working at the moment. So that's really sort of screwed up the start of his game, and it's put him quite far behind. So if I go to just the eco at the moment, no one else has got their town center up. Mine is like literally 0.5% off being created, and Grey's has just gone up. So yeah, his town center is only just starting to get created, so it's going to put him a few villages behind, but also several fishing ships behind. So now I'm going to swap to my point of view, put it on view lock, and I'm going to start the replay as normal. So my town center has just gone up. Now, there's one thing you might have noticed about my town center in this game is it's not against a wood line. That was actually a mistake. Because when I was going to place the town center, I spotted the gold pile in the fog of war from, I think it was the right of screen, and the trees, and the game said that I could put the town center down, so I just assumed that it was up against the tree line. Unfortunately, it wasn't, so my wood chopping in the very early stages of the game is not going to be very efficient, and I've already decided that I'm going to have to go for an earlier lumber camp than I probably would have in regular circumstances to try and optimize my wood chopping. So I started off finding 2 sheep. I got a very nice dock position over on the northeast side of the map. Because we've got a Malay ally, we get double vision on our docks, plus 100% vision. So that means it's very easy to see your starting deep fish locations from your dock. And I'm having to force drop the wood just to get the optimization. So some of you may have seen a video from one of the best players in the world called Hera on YouTube about how to do a nomad start, and his video suggests that with your starting villages, you go to collect wood, and then once you've got enough wood to make a fishing ship, you make a fishing ship, and then you do a house with your next wood. So once you've got the fishing ship out, you need to collect 25 wood and make a house, and then you do pretty much in the order of fishing ship, house, fishing ship, house, fishing ship, house. That's how you spend your wood in the start of the game. That's actually a very nice suggestion, and I remember seeing his video ages ago, like shortly after he posted it, and it was kind of sort of similar to what I did, but then I went back and rewatched it recently, and I realized that I hadn't actually been doing my nomad starts in that order. It had been kind of out of sync, and so this game in particular, I'm trying to do that particular build where I go fishing ship, house, fishing ship, house, fishing ship, house. So I'm just going to just take it off my view lock for a second. So you can see I've got 2 houses and I've got 2 fishing ships. So I've got fishing ship, house, fishing ship, house. And that does actually work really well. It is quite smooth. So we have a Vietnamese ally as well. I'm just going to quickly pause the game and take the view lock off. Whoops. So I have my town center location is in the south of the map. We've also got Mike Oxmall, who's very close to me, very similar to our last game actually. We were quite close together, and then because we got Mitch playing the Vietnamese, we can see the other enemy TC locations. So we've got green just north of us. We've got the Mayan blue player just to the east of Gerald. We've got the cyan and the matte grey town centers over here, which were the ones that Mitch spotted at the start of the game. We've got Mitch over here on the eastern shore, and then we've got Croker way off on his own in the north. So I'd say that the starting town center locations are favouring us because we are technically surrounding the enemy. So the enemy does have, the other team or the enemy does have a lot of space that they can move to look for resources on the map. They've got this way for these two players, and also I guess this way. These players here, however, it's a bit trickier because they can go this way and then they can go this way as well, but they don't know where our town center locations are because they don't have a Vietnamese ally. So they are not going to be exactly sure which directions they should build and expand to, whereas we have complete confidence of the way that we can go. So I know that in this game, there's no one to the left of me at all. So I can freely sort of look in this direction for resources, and that's why I'm sort of scouting this way with my sheep. All right, so I pulled in a boar from the south, and I can see that there's another boar to the north of me. Now, I think that's the first game in a row, the first game in all of the replays that I've posted where I've been able to take 2 boars on Nomad, I think. I did have 2 boars in my Vietnamese 3 versus 3 game, but the second boar I found quite late. 2 boars means that I'm going to be off to a much better start than I would have been otherwise. So if you can get 2 or 3 boars in Dark Age, you're going to get a really awesome castle time, provided that you distribute your economy correctly to execute that build. So making a few fishing ships in Dark Age, and then once you get up to Feudal Age, queue up 2 villages and immediately make your 2 Feudal Age buildings, usually Market Blacksmith. So in this game so far, I don't think I've had any idle TC. The start has been quite smooth compared to my last few games, and then here we go, I'm rushing down the lumber camp just to get that efficiency on the wood line. I've got quite a nice food count at the moment. Pretty smooth start, and I've got several fishing ships out. I've got 3. Dravidians means that one of the Dravidians bonuses is that your docks count as a house essentially. So you can skip the starting house with Dravidians, and that means that you have essentially can get the first fishing ship out faster because you don't have to spend that 25 wood on a house. So that means, you know, it's maybe, I'm not exactly sure how much in-game time that is, but say you get your first fishing ship out maybe 20-30 seconds faster than a team without a Dravidians ally. So I'm just moving to my villager to the north to make a second dock because I think it's probably worth doing 2 docks. I can't remember if I actually ended up doing 2 or not. Yes, I think so. So I want to do 2 docks because it just gives me a bit more efficiency with my fishing ships. So once the deep fish in the locations near my dock run out, I can migrate them to the north of my original dock and have some more efficient collection. Even though it's costing me that 150 wood, I think the improved food income is probably worth it. And I've got lots of villages on wood anyway, and I've have a deer patch, I've have 2 boars, and I've got a couple of sheep. So it's not exactly like I'm lacking for food under my town center either. So it's lucky that there's a hunt patch right next to my TC, so I'm able to long distance gather that quite efficiently, and I'm able to get up to Feudal Age at 24 villages, which means I'll be able to do a 24+2 or a 24+3 villager Castle Age, because I'm going to be executing a Longsword rush strategy. And I've decided that I'm going to hit green because he's the closest enemy to me. And the enemy has 3 castle dropping civs. They've got Koreans, Mayans, and Spanish. They can all do a nice castle drop on Nomad. So I don't want to be castle dropped by green. I also don't want. I want to try and put some pressure on the players close to us so they can't just, you know, go straight up to Castle Age and get the position on us. Here I've spotted a cyan fishing ship that has been going around the map scouting, and I come to our water player that the ship came from that direction. I think I ended up sending a fishing ship around in the fog of war just to see whether Cyan's dock is quite close to us. So I've made a mining camp. I've started putting a few villages on gold. And my mill is also very luckily next to another patch of hunt as well as berries. So again, it sort of means that I've got quite efficient food gathering near my town center, and I'm going to be able to delay farms for a little bit in Castle Age because I've got the hunt, I've got a couple of sheep, and I've got the berries there. So here we go, I'm up to Feudal. I've already got the food for Castle Age already. I don't quite have the gold. I can't remember if I end up selling some food to get the gold in, or whether I just collect the gold as fast as I can. I have to wait for the buildings to be built anyway. And the reason why I've got so much food, again, is I've had 2 boars, 2 patches of hunt. I've had a couple of sheep. I can't remember if I might have maybe used 1 sheep, and I've got quite a few fishing ships as well. Just going to take the view lock off and count them. So I've got 7 fishing ships. So for someone not investing, they're going for a fast castle, you probably have to you can't have too many fishing ships, because otherwise you're not going to have the wood to be able to get get your buildings up in Feudal Age. And I've also made that extra dock, so 7 fishing ships plus the second dock. I'm still able to afford everything. One of the reasons why I'm able to do that is Dravidians get plus 200 wood at the start of each age. So I think with that in mind, I've been able to spend a little bit more extra wood on the economy side of things than pretty much any other civilization would have been able to at this stage of the game. So I'm putting up a barracks at that gold mine. The reason why I put it up against the gold mine is because it gives me vision of the gold mine, because it's a mine that's quite close to, it's in the neutral area between mining Green's base, and there's like a small possibility that, you know, he could expect to expand it to that gold at some point. And then I put up a house, and I can see that he is walling between the wood lines there. So I've decided that I'm going to outpost both sides of that wood line just to give myself a bit of vision, which will help me decide where to attack when I'm ready to go. So at the moment I've got 20 economy units on food, 7 fishing ships, 13 villages, mostly hunt and berries and fish, and then I've got 8 on wood and 4 on gold. I'm almost up to Castle Age. I'm going to get a very good time. This will be the best Castle Age time that I will have had in any of my replays. And across the board, when you're going for a fast castle strategy, if you can get up to Castle Age before 18 minutes, I would say that's a very successful fast castle on Nomad. There are some civilizations that can, like, you know, I think Khmer is one of the civilizations that is the fastest that you can go up with, because they don't have to build the prerequisite buildings. And then there's a few other civilizations that can do a very fast time as well. So I'm queuing up a lot of upgrades. I'm getting gold mining. I got the double bit axe, what is it again? The first farm upgrade. I'm getting man-at-arms, the armor upgrades from the blacksmith, gambesons, squires. I'm queuing up everything because my economy's doing really well with the food gathering. I've got 2 barracks up, and I'm starting to make some man-at-arms. I'm queuing up the longsword upgrade, and I'm pretty much ready to go. I'm going to have some units to be able to hit green before probably between the 19 and 20 minute mark, which I think is a reasonable time. If I was going to be getting castle dropped by another player, at least I've got a little bit of defense there, but because of the situation and the fact that green has walled up, I'm not in any danger of villagers sort of walking into my base to do a castle drop, because I've sort of got vision on that side of the map. And I think Gerald was commenting that he was being tower rushed. Now I can't actually see that on my point of view, because I'm focusing on making man-at-arms, soon to be longswords, and getting into Green's base to start harassing his eco. So here we go. Green put up a tower. I'm just going to quickly take the view lock off. So I found 2 villages on a gold mine. Green has tried to quick ball it. The longsword upgrade has come in, and I'm killing those villages. And then over here, Gerald is being double tower rushed by red and green. Green's tower is probably in the middle of nowhere, right next to his TC. And I don't think he was expecting me to come across with longswords to help Gerald out. And we get a nice clean up on those green villages. These 2 towers from the mine player have archers garrisoned in them, so they're actually doing quite a lot of damage to Gerald's town centre, and they've ranged him off his wood. And now green is forced to make a defensive castle. He was probably already going to do that, but it's possible that he has sold some resources at the market to be able to afford the castle, because he went for that tower, and we have started massacring villagers under his town centre. The castle is in range of his TC, so I can't really safely sit my longswords there, even though I've got gambesons in, which is a new upgrade from the most recent patch that gives +1 pierce armor. I probably could have afforded to sit my longswords in range of the castle a bit more closely, but because I was a bit slack with the positioning, the green was able to get up the castle no problem, and I have to kind of move away from that position. So I'm queuing up arson because I was my economy's not exactly balanced at the moment. I was floating quite a lot of food, and normally I wouldn't be rushing that upgrade, but because I had quite a lot of units out, I hadn't really lost anything, and the food, because of the fishing economy and the farms that I've got down, was coming in so quick, I got that upgrade. It's not actually that important to get. It only increases your building damage only by a little bit, but I grabbed it anyway. I've just gotten housed here behind doing the triple barracks longsword rush. I'm just getting bowsaw coming in, and I've got 5 villages in the queue, so I probably could cancel a few of those and queue up a few more longswords. Getting town watch because I'm scared of war wagons coming around, and green had actually towered my wood line. Because when I was talking there, I'm just going to quickly do a quick pause. So green had come around with some villagers and made a tower here, actually. I think he made a tower there. Or maybe I'm thinking of something else. Anyway, don't worry about that. I think that he may actually tower somewhere in my base a bit later in the game. I thought that was, because I watched the replay a couple of times, I thought it was that. So green has gotten onto war wagons, and now that I've seen the war wagons, I've realised, okay, longswords is not going to be a viable unit for much longer. I'm going to have to do a transition, and I'm throwing up, was that a university or a town centre? I think I'm throwing up my second town centre, but I realised that because there's war wagons on the field, and Mitch was commenting that there was conquistadors in his base. I'm just going to take the view lock off. So he's had a castle denied over here by some conquistadors from Cyan. He's also been harassed by Grey a little bit. So I think Grey attempted to build a forward barracks, and Mitch is he had a bit of a messy feudal because of the aggressiveness of Grey and Cyan on him. These are the two of the players. Actually, Grey is the player that's not part of the 4 stack. So over here, I'm just because I can't really chase the war wagons around, I'm throwing my longswords into the Mayan player's eco, and I'm massacring his villagers. I'm not really watching that at the moment. There we go. So Mitch has got 2 players onto him. He's got a forward range from Grey coming into him on this side, and Conks on him over here. He's starting to queue up some skirmishers to push back the Conks. Then my longswords in Blue's base is still going. I'm still killing the towers. I'm killing the crossbows. Blue's forced to make a defensive castle here. And I'm able to take down the tower and chase the longswords away. I'm not controlling those units at the moment. They're just doing their own thing. And now I'm focusing on my economy and also my map position. Now we know where all the enemies are. We know that green and blue are close together, and that means that I can creep forward to the north and to the west of myself to expand my economy. And I also need to know what's going on and try and figure out, because they've got war wagons and conquistadors, I need to be able to see what's going on around my base, so I don't want those units running into my economy and slowing me down. I've also made an archery range. I've got the elite skirmisher upgrade, and I'm starting to queue up skirmishers because that's my transition, because I've seen war wagons and conquistadors and also archers from 3 players. Skirmishers is just the perfect unit to go for, and Dravidians get a bonus for their skirmishers. Their skirmishers attack 25% faster, so that's going to be an excellent this is an excellent game to go skirmishers in, because I've got 3 enemies making units that skirmishers counter, and I've also got a bonus for the skirmishers. So it's just a perfect transition for me to make, a very natural one for the Dravidians and for this situation in the game. So now, these conquistadors were over in Mitch's base. They've come all the way across the map, and they've hit me from the opposite side of my town centre. I was not expecting them to be over there, but luckily I'd already transitioned to the skirmishers because of being close to a Korean player making war wagons. So I'd already had elite skirmishers on the field. I mean, they've only got the fletching upgrade, but at least they're there to be able to ward the conks away. And luckily the conks didn't sit. I guess the conk pierce armor has been nerfed a little bit. They didn't do too much damage. They killed a few villagers, but it wasn't too bad. And I had the resources for ballistics and bodkin arrow, and I'm going to start upgrading my skirmishers. I've had to share a stone with Gerald because I couldn't see one close to my TC, because I want to get a castle up, because I've got these mobile unique units that could be running around inside my economy. I really need to defend the eastern side of my base with a castle. So now that I've got ballistics in, I've got bodkin arrow, and I'm getting +1 armor, I can take a fight with these skirmishers against the conks. And as you can see, the conks are now melting to the skirmishers. There's also some war wagons coming in from green, and I'm not too worried about those. And I'll just be able to continue to queue up the skirmishers here, and these unique units won't really be able to do anything to me, particularly because I've got ballistics. The conks won't be able to really do much, and the war wagons, even though I think they might have had their armor, so now skirmishers do like 1 extra damage to them or something like that, so they're not quite as oppressive as they used to be before. And now that green has seen that I'm going skirmishers, he's towering his gold. And I'm just, I've made another archery range. I've got 2 ranged skirmishers now. And I'm just going to have to keep spamming the houses, keep spamming the villages, queue up an extra few fishing ships. Because I wasn't playing this water this game, I haven't been able to show you guys what's been happening, but none of the enemy team made any navy this game. So Soggy Socks has had complete free reign of the seas, and he's just been able to go around and clean all those units up. While I'm just doing some macro here, I'm just going to take it off my view lock. So over here, we've got the Mayan player with archers. Gerald he's been making camels. I think the reason why he was making camels is because he was worried about the war wagons coming in from this direction. Camels is a good unit against war wagons because they're faster than war wagons and they do bonus damage to them, so they can get on top of them. But he's in a bit of a pickle here because camels aren't so good against archers, so he's going to have to mix up his composition. He's also got a couple of monks there, and I think he even ended up getting redemption to help him out with the siege. So again, at this point, there's not much happening on my front at the moment, so I'm just focusing on macro. Got the 2 town centers going. I'm queuing up villages. I've got a fair few fishing ships working with 2 docks at the north of the map. I'm just focusing on, my next step will be probably a 3rd town center, a castle, which I think I've already made, and Imperial Age. And here, yes, I put a castle up at the front of my eco, and Gerald was coming to me that he needed some help with the mine player on his side, so I'm going over there and building a siege workshop, and I think I moved my skirmishers over into his base as well. So while that's happening, I'm just going to take the view lock off again. So Mitch has been pressured from 2 sides over here. He's got Grey sort of creeping up on him. Grey got a very forward position randomly in this sort of middle area of the map between Mitch and Croker, and he's had a forward range over here, a forward barracks, and he's crept his economy up this way, and he's building a castle here. Mitch has also got conquistadors coming at him from this angle, and he's had a lot of trouble in this game, sort of keeping his economy safe. He's not really been able to get much food. Again, he's probably needs some more farms, but he's been under a lot of pressure from 2 players. Now, one thing that I'm just going to pause the game again. So, one thing that Soggy Sock should have done in this game is he should have helped Mitch hold the front of his base and just sort of, take the pressure off him a little bit because he's getting 2v1. Now, I think what Croker probably had an idea of what he wanted to do in this game with Malay. I think he wanted to try out the infantry because one of the buffs that Malay received in the last patches, they get the infantry armor upgrades for free. So he started making longswords, and he's going to go Karambit warriors from the castle. But the units that have been attacking Mitch have been cavalry archers and conquistadors. And Karambits and longswords are not units that you want to be making against that composition. So I know that Mitch was asking for help. Like he had the same problem last game that in the last replay that I posted, where he was on the opposite side of the map to most of the team, and he was getting attacked. This time it's in Castle Age instead of Imperial Age, but because he was across the other side of the map, we weren't able to help him in this situation. He's got an ally right near him, but possibly his ally Soggy Socks hasn't realised that the play to sort of help Mitch get into the game is to go to make a skirmisher switch. Malay have fully upgraded skirmishers, and the Magyars are making cavalry archers, and the Spanish are making conquistadors. That seems just like a natural thing for me, but I think some players have it into the head they want to do a specific strategy, and no matter what happens in the game, that's the strategy that they're going to attempt to play, no matter what happens in the game. And sometimes I'm guilty of doing that as well, but I think a lot of the time I'll react quite quickly to enemy unit compositions on the map. For instance, in this one, I went longswords, and then I saw that there was range unique units on the field. Immediately, I switched to skirmishers. I think that's what Soggy Socks should have done over here as well, because I know that Mitch, he really wasn't happy about being in this situation 2 games in a row. So I'm going to switch back to my view lock. So now I've got my skirmisher mass has been brought over to Gerald's base. He's got some knights to tango with the archers, and I think he researched redemption at the monastery, so his monks have the ability to convert mangonels. I think he ended up converting one of the mangonels that blue was making, and now we're pushing blue's army back. Fortunately, green isn't pushing me with his war wagons. I guess because I've got the skirmishers there, he's probably... he's not sure. He could come around like into the back of my eco with them, but he just sort of hasn't scouted me on that side. And I guess that the immediate pressure from their point of view is at Gerald's base. So here, green's trying to engage against my skirmishers, which have full Castle Age upgrades, and he soon finds out that that was a poor decision, and he loses a couple of them. So as Koreans here, when the enemy's making skirmishers, here's some conquistadors as well. And again here, I've got a whole bunch of skirmishers. I've got all of these ranged unique gold units just being thrown away, trying to take my skirmishers out. And I think I was literally laughing at green trying to take this fight, because it was just such a waste. Like, that's hundreds of resources down the drain unnecessarily. As Koreans, I don't exactly know what the play is here, where you're going war wagons and the other player's got the counter unit to you, possibly going mangonels, or your own skirmishers is probably the other thing that you can do. And forward towers is another thing, because they get the free tower upgrade. So green probably should have made a tower here, just like crept forward within the range of his castle, and then fought under the towers, because if he's got a guard tower up there with maybe some skirmishers or something inside, then it's hard for me to sit my units there, I guess. So I've gone Imperial Age. I'm just going mass skirmishers at the moment. I'm going 3 ranged skirms. I get housed as soon as I go up, and I'm starting to get a trebuchet out of my castle. I'm going to start pushing green. Again, I've got the bowsaw upgrade. I've only got horse color on the farms. I've got the gold mining upgrade and the stone mining upgrade. Dravidians don't get gold shaft or stone shaft mining. And I've got wheelbarrow. I've got my 3rd town center. I added that a little bit later, and now I'm starting to get bracer. And the thing that I didn't realize until I got to Imperial Age is we have a Vietnamese ally. The Vietnamese team bonus is Imperial Skirmisher upgrade. I'm Dravidians. I've got awesome skirmishers, possibly the best skirmishers in the game. I'm in heaven here. Like, the Imperial Skirmisher upgrade is Imperial Skirmishers is a really good value unit. They actually have the same damage as a Arbalest without chemistry. Like, they get 4+4 with full upgrades, which is actually makes them quite effective against other units apart from archers with that 8 damage. There we go. I've got my 4th range up, getting conscription, and now I'm starting to queue up a few roomy swordsmen as well, just for the abilities to sort of kill villagers. Now Mitch was coming to do is getting ram rush, and I had to yell at Croker to go to send his units in, because he was just sitting there with all of his stuff at the front of his base. So I had to send skirmishers all the way across the other side of the map to help Mitch out, because he wasn't getting that support from Soggy Socks. I think Soggy Socks was just waiting until he got to Imperial and got the sort of full boom going before he ended up going out. I think he could have probably been a bit more active with his military and made a different choice to his army composition to sort of make that side of the map a bit more fun to play for Mitch. So here we go. I'm queuing up. I'm getting handcard, I'm getting chemistry, getting the full upgrades. I'm throwing some Urumi into Green's economy, and I've got fully upgraded Dravidian Imperial Skirmishers, and I'm just sitting them there next to my trebs. There's nothing that Green's got that he's going to be able to have to push me back. All of the enemy team is still in Castle Age. Green has sort of been going full into the war wagons, which will do absolutely nothing against my army composition. I'm just going to creep forward with castles now. And again, the conquistadors were being annoying in Mitch's base. Gerald has a pretty good position on blue, and just while I'm pushing into green at the moment, I'm just going to go over and have a look at this. So, again, it's just a standoff here. Gerald's got a few units, and I've got a few skirmishers protecting him, and then Green's decided to come in again. I think these units are on stand ground or something like that, and even when I'm not controlling them, they're just I'm getting so much value out of those units. So I've got a few trebuchets out. I've got Imp Skirms raiding Green's villages. They actually do pretty good damage against villages. And now I'm doing the Imperial Age siege push. I'm getting out a bombard cannon, getting ring archer armor, final upgrade for my skirmishers, and I'm just waltzing into Green's eco. He has not tech switched out of war wagons. He's got nothing left, and now I'm just steamrolling him. Pop cap to the moment, 20 idle villages, and I'm starting to get some elephants up to clear up his base. Just need to get a new gold mine. Found one over there. Again, I'm very impressed with the damage that Imperial Skirms do to villages. They're getting quite a few villager kills there. So now Gerald and Croker are in Imperial Age. A couple of the players on the other team have started to arrive as well, but I think it's a bit late for blue and green. Like, we're sort of into their economy at the moment. I'm just slowly pushing them away with Imperial Skirmishers. I haven't really seen many military units from them. I'm not exactly sure what they were doing at this stage of the game. Got a couple of Eagle Warriors there, but that's about it. And then again, the infantry proving not to be the best choice for Soggy Socks there. He's gone into Halberdiers, but Conquistadors are able to hit and run. I mean, if the Halberdiers do eventually get on top of the Conquistadors, they'll absolutely shred them, but I think Cyan was very focused on microing his conks around and being really annoying. So I'm just going to go, while I'm doing that, I'm just going to go and have a look at the conks over here. Yeah, so he's killed a few of them, but yeah, they're able to get away and just... Has he given up here? Oh no, he got a couple more. Yeah, I mean, this is taking like a lot of APM, I guess, for Croker. There we go, he's given up now. Oh no, still microing. Yeah. Alright, so now I'm getting the Siege Elephant upgrade. Or maybe I've already got it. And yeah, I'm just pushing my way into the other player's base because we've taken out green. Blue hasn't really got much, and I'm just sort of coming over, pushing towards Mitch to sort of alleviate the pressure from him. I'm in on grey now. He's queuing up cavalry archers to the front line. I've just got a few Imp Skirms sitting there in front of his rangers. I'm going to start moving the elephants that way. It's always nice to get a few siege elephants on the field. I had to send Gerald a bit of wood. I think he's still... We just take the view lock off there for a second. Yep, so I think he was able to bombard down. I'm not sure what that building was. Possibly something. Was that his building? Oh, I'm not sure. He might have lost his castle actually from the trebuchets. Anyway, he's got bombard cannons up now and cavalier. He should be fine there. Now, got my elephants in Grey's on Grey's castle. He's got knights, but again, like the Imp Skirms, look at the damage they're doing to those knights. I'm not sure what upgrades he's got on the knights. Let's have a look. Only +2 armor. Yeah, so they're doing pretty good damage against +2 armor. They do 4 damage. And here, I was trying to delete that siege elephant, but it ends up getting converted by that monk. That was cheeky. Let's have a look at Grey's upgrades here. So yeah, he's only on regular CA with barely any upgrades. And then yeah, Blue's called GG. I think Gerald started beating him on the front. Green's resigned as well. And then Grey has resigned too. Now, Cyan ended up doing a Supremacy Villager Rush. So I'm just going to put it on fast forward and I'll show you this bit here. Yeah, it's a bit laggy. I think he ends up coming through. Here we go. Yeah, so he's researched Supremacy. So he's just having a bit of fun. But it's funny how well these do. So I've got a few Urumi swordsmen in the mix there. So he's having to micro all these properly. He's got a few cavalier, barely any upgrades. a nice last stand for Cyan. He's actually doing pretty good against those halberdiers. Then I got a few. The Yurumis do pretty well against them, like with the splash damage. YOLO villagers. And we got the Paladin upgrade. And then I've got Elite Yurumi coming in. Now they're going to struggle against those. Goes and picks off the Treb. Very cheeky. And he's got 65 villagers still to come. Yeah, most of the villagers are going down. I think have I started moving over my stuff yet? Nah, not really. I think I was micro on the Yurumis. There we go, Karambit warriors. Let's see how the Karambits do. I mean, they're only regular Karambits with +1. Yeah, they're not doing too bad. There we go, GG. Yeah, so that was a fun one for me. Again, it was like pretty breezy game. The start of Castle Age was a bit scrappy, but yeah, once it stabilized, I got into my 3TC boom to Imperial, and I had the counter unit to several of the players' compositions, and it was a nice game to. I'd never used Dravidian Imperial Skirmishers before, so that was quite fun to see how powerful that was. Thanks for watching, guys, and hope you look forward to the next one.